why WoW doesn't hit the same anymore. As classic players, I think a lot of us know and understand this quite well, but I think Bellular is a little more on the retail side of things, so I'm curious what he's going to say here. Yeah, let's get the popcorn out, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Immersion is a word that's been dominating WoW discussion lately, and if you ask anyone about how immersive WoW used to be, you'll probably get the same kinds of answers, that it felt like stepping through a portal to another world. Just think about the original login screen. But if you ask about the last 10 years, I would reckon the answers would change. That WoW doesn't feel as real. That for some reason it feels more like a video game and less like a world that you're sucked into. Now, Krendor and Nixium both released videos on this topic recently.
I watched the Krendor one.
Very different takes. So I figured we should throw our hat in the ring. And that's because everyone is blaming the same suspects. Flying, teleports, an endgame focus. But here's what we realized when we dug through decades of research and scientific publications. Almost everyone's been getting this topic wrong for over 20 years. Because why isn't WoW as immersive anymore is actually the wrong question entirely.
Wait, was that a joke about the digging into the science? I think it was. Okay, because that went over my head. I was like, wait, what publications? Was there... I was like trying to like read that on the abstract. I think it was actually just a joke. Okay. Some deep breaths here. Bellular, whatever background this is, it's looking nice. I don't know if that's a green screen or if that's like legitimate, but looking good, Bellular.
True secret sauce was something else, and one paper from 2005 is a big part of why we forgot it.
Oh, maybe he wasn't kidding with
In 2005,
it was
a paper
real.
hit the games industry with one goal: to define immersion in a way games could
he was actually being legit. Okay, so okay, cool, nice. We're actually getting a study here.
Use going forward. They succeeded, by the way, with almost 1,200 other papers citing it since. And their model had 3 components: sensory, challenge-based, and imaginative. Which all seem self-explanatory, right? Azeroth's beautiful landscapes hit you with a sense of scale. The ambience made it feel vibrant and real. Exploring dense caves full of mobs with an incredibly responsive combat system just invited you to lock in. And then, the feeling of the big, empty world full of mystery and history, it wormed its way into your mind. So there you go. WoW is immersive by all 3 categories, right?
Was this an editing mistake or am I tripping? Thanks for watching. It's the start of the video. I mean, I'm gonna keep watching.
All done. Not quite.
Oh.
Because this model...
Am I just sleeping this morning? What is going on? The joke went over my head and then something that wasn't a joke I thought was a joke. I'm just an idiot. Goodness gracious.
...of immersion rewrote history, and it changed how the industry and all of us talk about immersion forever. And as a result, we left something behind. And for Blizzard, well, it was maybe the most important part of World of Warcraft. You see, we found something far stronger than immersion. Stronger may not be the ideal word. Rather, it is foundational to immersion being possible in a game like World of Warcraft. You see, you can get lost in a half-decent movie.
I'm just trying to figure out if that's a green screen or not, to be honest. It kind of looks like it is, but I can't really tell.
Or video game, but you always come back out at the end, right? You leave the cinema. But the thing about WoW is, it really seemed to take it one step further. Immersion just doesn't describe how Classic hit the world harder than any game before, to the point where people would be playing WoW like 20 hours a day, often leading to medical incidents and viral news stories. And the way it felt is whenever you left Azeroth, you almost always wanted to leap right back into it, or think about when you could. You would plan your next session, think about your character.
Bro, that's like textbook definition of addicted. That is how I felt about WoW for... I mean, I feel like I got unaddicted maybe. Well, sometimes I still am addicted. That's not the point. The point is when I was young, when I was like in middle school, okay, every waking moment was just like sitting there and just thinking about the game. Oh, I still kind of do that sometimes. That's not the point. The point is when I was younger, okay, I would be sitting in class just daydreaming about the game. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this when I get home. I can't wait to, like, I was like, never, like, I was logged out, but I was never really logged out. You know what I'm saying? I was just like kind of always kind of there. Textbook definition of addicted. I'm not addicted anymore, if you're wondering. Now it's in the past.
think about the people you're playing with. And people are core. We all shared a feeling that Azeroth is a real place. The sense that things that went on in it mattered, that things would persist, that consequences would matter, and that you're going to Azeroth, rather than just playing a video game.
True.
And that one step further than immersion has a name. It's actually a feeling, and it is one called presence.
Okay.
And presence is what we've forgotten. But first, a quick Linuxy tangent for anyone who's opened up a terminal, saw the blinking cursor, and quietly closed it again. This video sponsor, boot.dev, has done something awesome. They've just rebuilt their Linux course to just make the whole world of Linux far less arcane. Now, it starts in a real shell running in your browser.
I don't remember which video we talked about. We'll let the ad play in the background. But
then it moves on to
it was a video we watched like a year ago talking about like a third space. And for a lot of people, World of Warcraft is that third space. You have like home, you have work, and then it's really healthy to have something that's not home, not work, and that third space where you feel like comfortable and, you know, you can just kind of play. And I think for a lot of us, that third place is like, wow, yeah, I remember. Do you remember that? It was like a year ago we watched that video. But I feel like that's one of the reasons WoW is so immersive, because it's that third space for us, you know?
And when you shouldn't be reaching for the nuclear option. If you're considering dev work, this is just essential. I mean, thanks to Claude Code, I've spent a fair amount of time in the terminal now.
It's both for you, though. Yeah, for me, it's kind of weird since I'm a streamer, but yeah.
I can operate with my fingers. It'll take me
the new Dave on Dev talks about that. Oh, really? Interesting.
How to operate the terminal, or maybe learning about
Zar, that's only one space. What up, Sardako? Can't wait to meet you at BlizzCon, man. Coming up soon.
Has got you covered for all of that. And the best thing is, you can actually just go right to their course page and look at everything for free. It's awesome. And to make it even better, Boot is structured like an RPG. It just feels so damn
Boot.dev, guys, check them out.
To use. So scan the QR code or use code Bellular at boot.dev to get 25% off your entire first year on an annual plan. Presence, or telepresence, predates World of Warcraft, and it predates just about anyone watching this video. It's actually said to come from a 1940s sci-fi story called Waldo, which is about a severely disabled man who invented remote-controlled robot hands to do what his own hands couldn't. It's obvious to us now, but remote control was a genuinely groundbreaking bit of tech back then. Waldo, with this technology, was able to exist somewhere that his body couldn't. Now that's the core of telepresence, and it's an idea that struck with readers of that story. Readers like Marvin Minsky, the man who established MIT's AI lab and who is one of the fathers of AI. Of course, I mean that in the computer science sense, so very much back before people just thought AI, oh, ChatGPT. Now, Marvin's part of this video because of his pioneering essay on telepresence, which cemented the idea in futurist thought of workers using robots in dangerous environments, technology letting you exist somewhere that your body couldn't. Now, the first application of this was a little bit less inspired, but it was quite funny. It was a company called Teleport, founded in 1993, that sold video conferencing as teleportation, where executives could be somewhere beautiful and technology would beam them away from their boring boardrooms. Laughable now, but it forced the question that really matters for this video. How could technology make you feel presence? Like you were truly somewhere else?
Well, the cool thing about the timing of World of Warcraft is it was kind of before social media at scale. So when you were online back then on WoW, it was a crazy feeling of like, holy crap, I can just chat with someone else. Like there was online chat rooms, but there was like an actual person jumping around that you could talk to. Before social media, like the timing was just crazy if you think about it. So let me think. In high school, it was I was in high school 2008 to 2012. I think Facebook was getting big in like 2008, 2009. MySpace was a little before that. WoW came out in 2004. Like years before. Like it's crazy, right? Yeah, you had AIM, like you had chat rooms, but like being able to just play, like log into a world and there's just hundreds or thousands of other people are like, it's kind of a crazy thing in 2004. I mean, it still is, but especially back then.
Well, in 1997, two researchers set out to figure out what this feeling was. And here's what they found.
Okay.
Presence has 6 components, and this is where things get weird and interesting. And that's because immersion, as we know it, was only one part of the whole thing. Another one was realism, and it came in 2 flavors, where presence comes from something being realistic to the real world, but also from something called perceptual realism, which basically is the thing being realistic to itself. Now, you kind of could have guessed those things already, and it's really the other 4 that set WoW apart. You know the way we would just jump at each other in WoW, or maybe throw a buff on a random player running past us? Yeah, well, that is actually what the research calls intimacy, and along with immediacy, it is a key part of, quote, presence as social richness. Of course.
So, WoW is immersive because it has presence, because it has intimacy. So the key to WoW's immersion is the intimacy. Okay. I'm just kind of...
First, to our social human brains, that richness makes us feel there and present. If you throw a heal to help a player as you run past, they might whisper back and say thanks. That's presence. Specifically, it's when the interaction feels, quote, sociable, warm, sensitive, personal, or intimate. Now, the next 2 parts can be bundled together. There is presence as a social actor within the medium, and then there's the reverse of that, which basically is parasocial behavior, aimed at something in the game or at the game itself. And that can be as simple as you literally thanking your pet for saving your life because your pet got a crit, or maybe cursing the game for refusing to drop your item. Essentially, the more social engagement with the game, parasocial included.
I'm trying to think, like, I don't usually play pet classes, and in terms of items dropping, I always get what I want because I've
the stronger the sense of presence. But then the final part is maybe the most important, because it's what ties all of this together, and it is presence as teleportation. In other words, what takes you from your computer chair to Azeroth itself? Well, these researchers determined that being transported actually has 3 components. There is you are there, which is the bit we usually laser focus on today, and certainly all the conversation about flying mounts, quest markers, and too much revealed lore kind of falls into that. And what this first of our 3 components also covers is pretty much all the immersive stuff we've talked about so far and the social stuff. Basic idea that the more you impact the world, the more you embody your character. It's all presence as transportation. But let's get to the second. The second is called It Is Here. And it's quite funny. It is, as an example, early film audiences fleeing from an oncoming train because they hadn't really seen a film before, and the idea of a train hurtling towards them felt really weird. That's a fun little one, and hey, if you pop on a VR headset and something is so realistic it actually spooks you out, maybe you're feeling some of that. But for us, what really matters is the third component. And that component is we are together. That's what they call it. Space. And you see, these researchers found that the presence of other people in a virtual environment was a major component of feeling transported to that environment.
Like, so this is kind of why when you play hardcore WoW, solo self-found, and you're not playing with anyone else, it's still way, way, way better when there's a lot of other people playing, because you at least see other people running by and interacting with the world and maybe dying in front of you and there's nothing you could have done because you were out of mana. Like all of these different things, right? Where even if you're playing solo, it's still sick, right? Now, if you're playing solo self-found and the realm's dead and you just don't see anyone, it just feels like worse to play even though you're only playing by yourself. You know what I mean?
Basically, the more you feel like you share that virtual world with other people, well, because you know those people are real, then the more real that place feels. And of course, the researchers, were only talking about 1995's version of Zoom calls. Imagine what they'd say about World of Warcraft. So, what we've learned here is that presence goes beyond just immersion. It goes beyond the game having challenge and having sound effects and visuals that just feel really authentic to itself. No, presence is what gives us that sense of Azeroth as a real place. It's the feeling that you were going there, not just playing a game. And when we think about World of Warcraft as a cultural phenomenon,
legendary.
Well, WoW was as big as it was because it felt like more than a game. Above anything else, it is that it was a world that mattered. And I think everyone intuitively knows that. Do you know who's one of those people? Holly Longdale gets it, though if she hasn't seen the research and stuff we've talked about today, then she may not actually know that she gets it. But it's certainly good news that she gets it. Now let me explain how we know that. In a WoW Discord Q&A back in March, Holly talked about World of Warcraft's role as what's called a third place. Now what does she mean?
We were just talking about this, not pre-watched by the way. Maybe that's where No, I'm pretty sure I actually heard about the third place concept from a G-Bay video like a year ago. 6 months ago maybe. But yeah, we were just talking about this.
By third place. Well, the first place is your home, where you spend time with your family, where you do a lot of your life. The second place is work or school, essentially the place you're obligated to be. The third place, then, is a public place you choose to be. And when this term was popularized in 1989, it referred to things like, say, churches, bars, and cafes. The short explanation is that a third place is somewhere that is fun, convenient, open, and most importantly,
I feel so proud of myself for remembering this.
So if you hung out at the mall as a teenager, the mall was your third place. If you played World of Warcraft, Azeroth was your third place. And if you played World of Warcraft in the earlier days, it wasn't Azeroth that was your third space, it was your server. Because back then servers mattered. You would run into the same people in general chat and in town. Yeah. For a lot of us then, your guild would also become your found family, who may as well have been people who literally live in Azeroth, because that's where you'd all hang out together. And for a poignant, real example of that, look at the story of Iblin. By all accounts, he lived a rich life with his guild that, because of the challenges he faced in real life, basically otherwise impossible for him. But look what WoW was able to give him.
Bro, oh goodness. Oh, I just can't. Dude, the retail models, man. I just can't. I just can't. Oh my, I just can't, man. Like, oh. Deep breaths, deep breaths. Why are they smiling? It's a World of Warcraft. There's war going on, man. There's imminent threats out there. Why is everyone so happy? Like,
Now, of course, it wasn't only WoW. Sometimes guildies would be on forums, or maybe MSN Messenger or AIM. But it was still on your PC that you logged into WoW with. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to go on a misty-eyed rant about the past here. But this stuff is a large part of what made Azeroth real. And a 2006 paper actually delved into online games as third places and came to the conclusion that they absolutely definitely are. Which I think does seem obvious to all of us by now. So, World of Warcraft established presence, and so it became your third place, where you lived out part of your life, a part that, as opposed to the first and second space, was one that you very much actively chose, because it was your discretionary free time.
Yep.
Now that sense of place, socially, is what made all that social presence and, as we covered earlier in the video, transportation stick, and in ways that it just doesn't today. All those immersive details we've talked about over the years do matter, but nothing matters more than WoW feeling like a real place that we go to. But sadly, since at least Cataclysm, Blizzard have known that they're making a game, not a world. Now I think Holly intuitively understands that, and Holly does want WoW to be a third place again. She's literally talked about it. So the question is then, is that even possible? Take a look at this recent Reddit thread that popped off. It raised the argument that always comes up when anyone gets too nostalgic. Do we all just miss that time in our lives when we played WoW, when we had less responsibilities, and really Azeroth was the main thing we cared about? And honestly, it's not much of an argument because, to most of us, it is obviously true, and obviously a major part of the discussion. You probably have, these days, less time and more responsibility. And even science backs that up. They measure your ability to get immersed with a trait that they call absorption. And that trait, absorption, has been shown to decrease just a little bit with age. That's only a small part of it, though. There is, of course, an elephant hiding in your pocket. I know, it may come as a shock. It's called your phone. We're all pretty much mind-broken by the attention economy these days. If you play WoW without a second monitor or a podcast playing, you're definitely in the minority. And I think to some of us, playing WoW with just the in-game sounds may feel like being sonically naked. I mean, if you told me that you don't alt-tab all the time or don't pick up your phone during a long flight, I'd struggle to believe you. Now, this is, of course, not a new problem, but it is worse than it's ever been. Back in the classic days, you probably had one monitor. Your PC probably struggled to alt-tab out of WoW, never mind run a picture-in-picture video or podcast. Your phone, if you had one, wasn't a full multimedia device full of algorithmically driven feeds and gambling apps and bullshit to scroll through. Maybe you had a podcast or some music on, but generally, you were more focused, immersed, present. Your attention constantly being pulled away kills that immersion, and by doing so, it kills the sense of presence. Because if you're checking your phone, you're not in Azeroth. You can't fully enjoy WoW or anything if you're not present in the experience. That's something society largely has to grapple with. Crucially, it's something that WoW has to fight for. If WoW slows down, there's ways that could be a better game. But the more attention-grabbing things around you will eat WoW's lunch. And that is a part of why Hardcore Classic is actually so beloved, because the stakes, being so high, force you to focus.
Yeah,
it's also why Modern WoW feels like an endless deluge of bite-sized content. It's because it kind of has to be bite-sized content in order to survive in the modern environment.
Oh, maybe this is why I enjoyed Warcraft 3 so much too, is because I played on hard and I was a noob. So I really had to I had to not even read chat, which kind of sucked in a sense because everyone was like, this guy's trolling. Anyway, I had to literally not read chat. I had to just fully focus on my main monitor or else I just lost the mission. I was on the same mission for 4 hours. And it was very immersive because I had to think and focus to beat the game on hard mode as a newbie, right? I loved it because of that. Pretty darn sweet. Same for hardcore Minecraft. Yeah. It's cool to have these experiences that make it so you can't just sit there and alt tab. You know, you're logged in and dialed. Yeah.
At least that seems to be Blizzard's hypothesis. Now, all that technological and cultural change means that modern WoW can never risk trying to be a full world. Now, on the bright side, it can continue being a damn good game. But Holly, I don't think the third place plan can really work as good as I think we all wish it could. And there is one giant thing blocking the path to that.
The third place is dead.
Azeroth can never be a third place because the internet is no longer really a place. Your phone is in your pocket at all times. You probably have a laptop. You have a legion of alts. None of whom are your virtual self. Not in the way that back in the day you'd have a character in a big online game and it would be your avatar. No. Back in the 90s, people were collectively obsessed with the internet as a different world. The novel Snow Crash gave the metaverse its name and its shape all the way back in 1992. Then hackers in 1995 visualized the internet as a radical 3D space. And as MMOs started to show up, they got the same treatment. Second Life's name kind of speaks for itself. And take a look at this. The anime.hack sign was about mystery and relationships in a fictional MMO that was...
Yeah, so, I mean, we have chatted about this. It's when you have WoW coming out when it did, or even RuneScape. I don't know if any of you played RuneScape in 2002. There wasn't any other place to after school, you log in and just chat with people when you have a character and you can jump around like that. It's just a crazy concept. But now, yeah, internet at scale, you can talk to anyone. It's not that impressive anymore. We've talked about this a couple times too. The zeitgeist effect it's the general cultural, intellectual, and moral climate that defines a specific historical period. I feel like this is just exactly why WoW blew up and when it actually did, 2004, 2005, pre-social media at large. It's you can't really go back, right? You can't really experience this thing again exactly how you did when it first blew up,
literally called the world. You see, back then, you had to sit at your chunky PC, perform the ritual of dial-up connection, and then transport yourself.
Someone says that's why we need WoW 2. So WoW 2 wouldn't fix anything of what we just mentioned at all. That wouldn't change the internet existing. That wouldn't change social media existing. That wouldn't change anything in the current conversation. Just to
And the way we talked about it back then was of you going online. Of course, these days, you've actually got to make effort to be offline, because online is kind of the default. Really, with phones, the internet and reality have merged. And if you take a look into the research around embodied intelligence and a bunch of things like that and tool use, oh boy, the way that we all do literally just walk around with our phones just always attached to our hands, it's a little bit spooky. And it's spooky for WoW. You see, social media has bridged the entire world, such that we can all exist together in one lovely big blend of offline and online. Now, you might still live an online-heavy life and have online friends, but they don't feel like they live in a different world. They just feel like people far away. You talk to them on Discord or Battle.net with the little box that lives in your pocket. And what we see is that modern culture doesn't see game worlds or even the internet as a unique and distinct place in the same way that we used to see it 20 or 30 years ago. Now, you could argue that small Discord servers are, in some way, one of the last true digital third spaces left. And here's a fascinating thing that backs that up. The actual research on what a third space is reports this, where researchers have noticed that adding competitive, sports-like elements instead of, say, free play actually breaks what a third space is. Now, if you take a look at any...
That's fascinating. Because when people ask me about should Blizzard add ranked arenas to Classic WoW, I usually say no. And my answer to that might surprise people, and my answer to that is kind of weird, because it's like, well, it gives people something to do. But the reason I say that is because it fundamentally changes the way you interact with the world when you're sitting in a city grinding for raiding, versus when you're exploring a world because you want to, and there's reasons to go out and explore that world. And once you make that shift, RIP. That kind of makes sense with the research he just cited. Is like, once you have something competitive to grind, it's not really like a third space anymore in that same way of just like a world existing there. So yeah, once again, I don't want there to be a rated system for arenas in Classic Plus, because it just changes the game to where it doesn't feel the same anymore. I want people going out to world PvP. I want people not sitting in a city spamming Q. I want them to go out and explore the world, and like PvP like Payo does, or something like where people commonly traverse, right? And you're out there interacting with the world, right? You can go out and duel, or you can go out and world PvP, but like once there's a rating system and you just spam Q, it's like, that's not it for Classic Plus. You know, that's not it. It's a weird thing to explain, especially as an OG arena player like myself, but I do feel that way. I really do.
The major social media platforms, what do you see? Well, technically they're social hangouts, but the objectives of you as a poster are kind of different. I mean, on Twitter, what do people want? They want big numbers. That's why Discord does stand out as one of the last bastions of the third space, because it is your own Discord server and community. Now, with all that established, let's get back to WoW. WoW's position as being game first, social hangout second, kind of disqualifies it. And it's the same with basically every other MMO in the market these days. It's almost as if game and place are on a spectrum, and every decision made toward game can end up moving you away from place, away from the presence that made WoW feel so special. Now, that may sound a little bit weird and academic, but just think about it this way. Think about the verbs that we tend to use. You don't meet your friends in World of Warcraft. You play WoW with them while you hang out in Discord. Discord is a place, the other thing is just a game you're playing. Now, obviously, Ventrilo and TeamSpeak existed long before.
Oh my gosh, bro, I need to go back to
just a game you're playing. Now, obviously...
Bro, this threw me back. Holy crap. I can still hear that Ventrilo, like, that little beep when someone joins and leaves. The push-to-talk sound. Holy crap, bro. You guys remember this? Does anyone have a vent server we can join? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Holy crap.
Ventrilo and TeamSpeak existed long before, but they were always secondary. Guild chat was always first. Now, though, Discord has taken over as the primary social hangout. Everyone is on Discord before they're on WoW together. And the way Blizzard are introducing Discord to World of Warcraft's guild chat proves that Blizzard knows that. It's a brilliant move, but it's also a white flag. Discord won. Blizzard has had to give up and acquiesce. They
Once connected, you're ready to chat. You'll easily be able to identify when a message has been sent from Discord or sent from within the game and be able to adjust your chat tabs accordingly, so you can always keep an eye on what your guild is doing, whether you're in-game or out of game. I'm down. I'll be home soon. Sorry, can't, out of town. So there's like a guild Discord channel, and then there's like a guild chat where you can see the Discord messages in game. Super interesting.
No, Discord is where people hang out by default, so now WoW is just going to plug itself into that, because WoW cannot replace Discord anymore.
I mean, that's pretty true. WoW can't replace it. Like, so even for me, we have like the Xaryu Discord right here. And in the Xaryu Discord, I have something called Guild Chat. It's not linked to in-game, but it's much easier if someone's like late to the raid, or like, you know, like we need mats or something, to message in the Guild Chat on Discord. But now you can like link them. That's very interesting.
Basically, Discord won, and now WoW is growing dependent on Discord to function socially. Even if, say, housing is massively successful and people hang out in and around their houses, well, the reagents for that third place magic just do not exist in the same way that they used to, not back in the day, and for all the reasons and the research that we've went through today. At the very least, not on the scale that Holly seems to want. So, it seems then that while WoW can be immersive when you turn all your extra music and podcasts off and you just enjoy the landscapes and the verse and the art and the sound, well, for presence, is there any hope?
I just had a thought, which I don't know if this is a good thought or not, but one of the things that I think made WoW immersive back then is actually not having BattleNet. Hear me out. When you ran across someone in game and you added them to your friends list, and you have just your friends list of in-game users, and then they were offline, it was like they disappeared. Like they weren't there. They just weren't in the world. And when they were online, that little noise, and you could send them a whisper, hey, you want to do Dead Mines or whatever, and you made that friend, and like you had your friends list and you played with people who are online. Now, the difference with BattleNet is you open it up and it says like last online 23 minutes ago, or like currently playing Hearthstone, or currently playing retail, and you're like almost too hyper connected. And then it's like, wait, that kind of like breaks that whole experience of like someone logging out or logging in or like being there and not. It's like, no, now you always know kind of, is their computer on and they're just on BattleNet and they're offline? That like breaks that whole feeling. I've never actually thought about it like that before. But you could also say that like Discord breaks that feeling because you have all your friends on Discord. You already know if they're going to play or not. BattleNet might have been maybe a little like older. Social media, I guess, at scale breaks that too. I guess there's a lot of things that break that, but like BattleNet doesn't help there, right? Cross realm too. Yeah, you can just see if they're on another character on another realm versus just like, are they online or not, right? It's kind of just the internet. Yeah, just kind of just the internet. Yeah, for a while on Classic WoW, I actually don't do this anymore, but I actually turned off BattleNet when Classic WoW came out in 2019, and I played this way for like years, where I just added everyone in game and I turned off BattleNet. And I didn't know why I did it. It wasn't for like a specific purpose. I more just did it because I was like, I'm gonna play the OG way. But like looking back, it's like, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. You just like add everyone as friends, and you whisper them. It's like kind of sick. But you know, other things like Discord break that anyway.
WoW can never be a proper third place, not with how the internet works today. And I mean that in general. If you want WoW to be able to function as a third space, I would say get into role-playing and find an RP server that takes that seriously. But for the rest...
I actually did that. So I played hardcore WoW, and I realized that, holy crap, this makes the game feel more alive and immersive than I felt in a long time. And then I actually, there's a retail expansion that came out. This is Warthen. It's like 2 years ago or something. And I was like, I want to play retail, but I don't want to just play retail. I want to be immersed in retail. So I had the idea of, I'm going to roll on Moonguard. So I did. And I met a bunch of cool people on Moonguard No, not just in Goldshire Inn. Or, I mean, not in Goldshire Inn. But anyway, like, we met Weed Elf there, you know, Herb Vendor, and they showed me around. We met a bunch of cool people. It was a good time, right? And the thing about Moonguard is they actually, like run up to each other and talk. Every other server, you don't really feel that. You just kind of play the game and spam Q. On Moonguard, you, like, walk up to someone and say, like, hey. It's like you're actually like playing a role-playing game the way it's supposed to be played. Anyway, it's actually a good time. I've mentioned this a few times on stream before. Herb Vendor and Weed Elf. Guys, it's not what it seems like. Anyway, I've talked about this on time, but conversations like this always re-spark this in my memory. Ichi go ichi, it's a Japanese idiom, I suppose, that describes a cultural concept of treasuring the unrepeatable nature of a moment. If you can't read, I read it for you. But I think about this with WoW all the time. It's like, you can't go back. Even the moment we're having right now, we can't have exactly the same way again. You can only have it one time ever. So every moment is a once in a lifetime moment. It's like a crazy thing to think about, right? Citing the fact that any moment in life cannot be repeated. Even when the same group of people get together in the same place again. Like, if you had a group of friends and you had, like, a really good time in one place at one time, you can't necessarily just mimic that same exact thing. You can try, but it'll never really be like that. And that's where, like, if you guys have seen Lost, I think Lost does a good job as a show kind of describing this, of, like, you can go back, but you can't really go back, right? Anyway, I feel like that's kind of how it is for WoW. It honestly sounds depressing, though. I mean, you can look at this and view it as depressing, or you could look at it and view it through a lens of, like, it's also really cool because you can treasure every single moment. Like, tomorrow is another brand new experience that you can never have again, like, in the same way. It also means you can't have it again, but it also means there's more things to look forward to that are going to be these really unique experiences. So it's a really cool thing to, like, think about. But with World of Warcraft, especially, like, that era we talked about with the Zeitgeist effect and now Ichigo Ichi, it's like, it's kind of how it was, man. You know, kind of how it was.
Of us, no, WoW is not going to become a third place in the way that it used to. But the silver lining is that the presence that modern WoW has abandoned is still possible. And how we know that is WoW Classic. You see, a study published...
Yeah, you just go play WoW Classic. Yeah, I mean, there we go. Hardcore especially.
Published in 2022, surveyed players on what they felt from Classic's relaunch. Nostalgia, of course, was there, but more importantly, the social presence and what's called sense of place were massive for these people. And they found a promising trend, that these two things were actually linked. That when players felt more social presence, they felt a stronger sense of place within Azeroth. Now, for a second, this is going to get really weird. You see, for those actively playing Classic, what ended up happening is that sense of place actually weakened. Now, the researchers suggest that this is down to revisiting the game with way more of a gameplay focus. And that does track whenever you watch, say, other content creators trying out WoW for the first time. For one example, GBay99 has been documenting his dive into Warcraft with a fresh eye, and he's thoroughly enjoying it in many of the ways that people did back in 2004.
One of the reasons he's able to enjoy it this way, or at least my take, is he's doing it offline, off stream. He's not taking handouts. He's not looking anything up, or, like, not looking up, like, best this, best that, like, not trying to metagame. He's taking his time. He's not trying to speed level. He's using no add-ons, no rested XP, no questy, reading the quest, going slow. He's putting all of these guardrails on his gameplay experience to make it feel almost as if he was playing back in the day in a lot of ways. But if you just go in as a new player today, you download a ton of add-ons, you have a max level friend carry you through a bunch of dungeons, you speed level, it's like, it's not going to feel like that. You're going to be like, okay, this is stupid. Like, when are we going to go play something else, right? So he's putting a lot of effort, and I think it's very smart, it's very intelligent, putting a lot of effort into cultivating the experience that we had.
Then there was a new Classic, divorced from nostalgia and less gameplay focused in the way that we see gameplay today, which I would argue is more narrow than it was in the past. then it might stand a chance of emulating that original launch. Now, not to put too much pressure on the...
Someone said there's Questy in the screenshot. Is there really? I mean, so this isn't Questy, I don't think. Yeah, no, it's not. That's baseline. Nope, I don't think so. I had to check though, because he definitely says he's doing no Questy, but we had to double check.
Was a new classic, divorced from, I would argue, is more narrow than it was in the past. Then it might stand a chance of emulating that original launch. Now, not to put too much pressure on the devs here, but Classic Plus. You see, if Modern WoW is locked into being a season-based, gameplay-focused game, big capital G, all caps underlined, that's super engaging second to second to second, then Classic Plus can be something different. Classic Plus can be a world. And Blizzard did not pick the Camelot codename by accident. It is, of course, King Arthur's mythological castle, often considered an eternal utopia, and not in the milk and honey way, but in the fighting for chivalry until the bitter end way. That's an exciting idea, and maybe it's just a cool name and they just want to make a game for the super attached endgame classic lovers, but I hope it's more than that. I hope they are going to make a real world instead. I think it'll never reach the heights of the original classic, also known as World of Warcraft. But that's just because we live in a different world now, and I don't think it'll be able to fully achieve that for all the reasons I've laid out in this video.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I think it can be good, and I think it can have a sense of presence that is vastly beyond what we've had in modern WoW lately. But that doesn't mean that modern WoW cannot learn from all this research into presence. And should Blizzard need an opportunity and an excuse to do that, well, The Last Titan is the end of a big saga, so what better time to make some change? All that Blizzard has to do is read a dozen or so scientific papers from 30 years ago and integrate them into their game design. There you go. Easy.
I don't think Blizzard would ever do that for retail, because to do that with retail, you'd have to break the whole game. One quick example is you'd have to probably remove Mythic Plus, because there's a rating attached. And it breaks the idea of like presence and being there with the competition, which you wouldn't do. So I like the idea instead of like you just have two different offerings, right? You have your modern experience and you have your classic one. And the classic experience is more about home and presence and being there, and specifically not having rating to grind, no rating, like competitive attachment. You're kind of just there and questing and leveling and kind of just making your own fun. It's a little more sandboxy, right? And then the modern experience is the other end of that, right? With those competitive experiences, with stuff to grind like arenas, shuffle, blitz, mythic plus, mythic raids, stuff like that. So you have the two offerings for the two different types of people, instead of trying to make both into both, right? It's like, if you want this, go here. If you want this, go here. Or if you're in the mood to play this, go play this. And maybe in a few months, you'll be in the mood to play that one. Right. So I don't think it needs to satisfy everything. You can kind of just say, this one isn't for this. It's for this stuff instead. Right. Instead of trying to please everyone, because then you're pleasing no one.
Is that people have been talking about immersion. That's good. I love to see it. But as we've learned today, immersion is not even the half of it, because presence exists on a foundational layer. And if you focus only on immersion in that narrow sense, but not presence, then you'll get something that's cool. But you won't get that secret sauce that WoW exploded onto the world with in 2004. So there you have it. The roadmap to fixing up this problem, to getting more presence, is to quite simply look into the science behind presence. Look into the ways in which older versions of WoW were able to get that presence, work them into the modern game, and just continue pushing and pushing and pushing.
I really like the whole video, but I don't think his last point make much sense. Just look at the research and implement it in the modern game isn't really possible based on what we just saw looking at the research. Am I tripping here? You can't really actually do that, because we're not living in that era. Social media and Discord are at large, and retail has competitive aspects of it that you wouldn't want to take out. So I love the video. It really makes you start to think, but I think it would be easier, or probably like a better strategy, to do what I said and just be like, okay, retail's not that anymore, and that's okay. we'll build this new thing that can attempt to be that. But with retail, it's just not that. And that's fine, right?
All to make Azeroth feel like it is another world that really exists, that you can access via your computer screen, and not just a game that you can play as a seasonal gaming gigapumper who's just trying to push rating. Because while that is a cool thing you can do in WoW, WoW at its best has always been far more than just that narrow end game progression focus. That's what it has to be again.
So I agree with him, but I don't think they should do that for retail. I agree with Bellular that like that is kind of the issue. Like if as soon as you have something like a Mythic Plus or an Arena or pushing this end game as quick as you can, and it's seasonal, and you just push the end game, quit, push the end game, quit, it doesn't feel like a place anymore. I completely agree with that. But are we really going to make the claim that retail shouldn't be that? Are we really going to make the claim that they should kind of remove all of that from retail? Remove logging, remove Mythic Plus, remove arenas, and try to bring it back? And then no way, right? No way. Like, I think that would be something for Classic Plus. I think you just let it be its thing, and you work on it from both sides, right? I think that would be. Can you imagine retail's new patch just removes Mythic Plus? Yeah, I mean, it would kill retail, right? Like, yeah, I don't think that's really even something to attempt. I don't even think it's worth like talking about. Like, there's no way. Check the comments on the video. Yeah, that was a really good video. One of you guys, whoops. Can I? No, okay. One of you guys recommended this in the Discord, so thank you guys for linking this to me. Very, very solid video. We were the original metaverse, then came social media. True. WoW has become a race to the end. Everything in the middle is not important. True. Do not soak your PC in water. That's the wrong kind of immersion. True. Yeah. All right. Very cool. You ever see if Burnt Peanut would want to play WoW with you? No. I think Burnt Peanut said something along the lines of like, WoW is a game for nerds or something. There was like a clip of him like a year ago. I mean, he's not wrong, but like, that's not a bad thing. Like, yeah, I don't know what he was trying to say there, but yeah, very interesting. Totally. Zara, stop saying he has 2 watches. It's a whoop. What? Are you sure?
Continue pushing and pushing and pushing.
That is not a whoop. That might be an Apple Watch. Oh, maybe that is a whoop.
All to make Azeroth.
Oh, maybe that is a whoop.
Into the modern game. Just continue pushing and pushing and pushing. All to
I can't get the right angle on it. I think it actually is a whoop.
World with in 2004. So there you have it. The roadmap to fixing up this problem, to getting more presence, is to quite simply look into the science behind.
You know, I think you're right. I don't know who said that, Shatter. I think you're right. I totally look like a watch.
Presence. Look into the ways in which
it is. Now that that's the angle we were looking for right there. That is a whoop. All right. I was wrong. Shatter, you were right. It's the first time I've pretty much ever said that. That's crazy. All right.